Germany suffered. A sudden drop in world agricultural prices brought poverty to the countryside. And then the Wall Street crash heralded a world economic slump. Unemployed lived rough inside the cities, as Germany became economically the worst-hit nation in the world. And then, just when it seemed things couldn't get any worse, they did. The 5 major banks crashed in 1931. More than 20,000 German businesses folded. Now the middle class was suffering.
The Great Depression pushed the Weimar Republic to its breaking point. It had been down this road before. In 1918, as people suffered from 4 years of World War I, communist agitators took to the streets, while right-wing mobs attacked them. At the start of the 1930s, it was very much the same vibe. Communist agitation got worse as more people lost jobs and more banks failed. Right-wing mobs came out to do battle with them, especially Hitler's stormtroopers, the SA. The Weimar government survived because Germany was one of the most modern countries on Earth and had created one of the most democratic governments on Earth. As we've seen, they had the Reichstag, the main lawmaking body, but it also had a president, elected to 7-year terms. The main job of the president was to appoint a chancellor and a cabinet of advisors who helped lead the Reichstag in making laws. A good cabinet represented all the major parties in the Reichstag, and the Nazis were definitely a major party. But in the grand scheme of things, they were small-timers compared to the president, Paul von Hindenburg, the most esteemed World War I hero in Germany, even more so than Ludendorff. As president, he was so universally respected that he was the closest thing Germany had to a king. In 1931, he met Adolf Hitler for the first time. He told Hitler he was afraid the Reichstag was unable to respond to the Great Depression properly because there were too many political parties, too many opinions for them to take action. He told Hitler he did not want to run for re-election as president. His 7-year term was up in 1932, at which point he would be 85 years old, and he did not have the energy to campaign. What if he just didn't run for re-election? What if the Reichstag extended Hindenburg's presidency for however long he wanted to serve, and then eventually invite Kaiser Wilhelm and his family back to rule Germany as constitutional monarchs? Could Hitler convince the Nazis in the Reichstag to vote for this? As a reward, Hindenburg promised to name Hitler Chancellor in 1932. But Hitler would not be used in this way. Instead, he promised that he would support Hindenburg if he ran for re-election, the way it was supposed to be done. He then wanted Hindenburg to fire the current Chancellor, Heinrich Brüning, and call new elections for the Reichstag. Hitler believed the Nazis would win these elections, leaving Hindenburg no choice but to appoint him Chancellor. Hindenburg refused. Instead, he did run for re-election in 1932, but Hitler didn't support him. Quite the opposite. He ran against him. Imagine if he could beat Hindenburg. The Nazis would rule Germany. In the final round of elections, Hindenburg faced Hitler and the communist candidate Ernst Thälmann. Hitler ran a hard campaign, crisscrossing the country in an airplane to make speeches. Air travel was relatively new in 1932. It made Hitler look like a vibrant, innovative candidate. Hindenburg won anyway, winning 53% of the vote to Hitler's 36% and Thälmann's 10%. One of the reasons Hindenburg won was because it was clear Hitler intended to rule as a dictator. The vast majority of Germans were scared of this and voted for Hindenburg in order to save the Weimar Republic. Hindenburg's chancellor, Heinrich Brüning, banned the SA totally to prevent them from interfering with the elections. It was clear that most Germans didn't want the Nazis, but some Germans did. One of them was one of Hindenburg's most trusted advisors, General Kurt von Schleicher. Schleicher complained when the SA was banned. He secretly met with Hitler to find a way around it. The first part of the plan was to make the SA a part of the German army. This would effectively place them under Schleicher's command. Then Hindenburg would fire the current chancellor, Heinrich Brüning, the guy who banned the SA. Finally, Hindenburg would dissolve the entire Reichstag, call new elections, and, when the Nazis won, appoint Hitler chancellor. Brüning was fired on June 1st, 1932. This could be seen as the end of the Weimar Republic. It showed that the president could just fire the government whenever he pleased and hire whomever he pleased to lead it. They can call elections whenever they please, and if they didn't like the results, just call new elections. The voice of the people didn't really matter. But why? The main reason was communism. As the Great Depression got worse, communist groups gained more followers. Communist ideas got more popular. Hindenburg accused Brüning of using some of those ideas as chancellor. This was unacceptable. Germany under the rule of a dictator president, with the help of the Nazis, was better than communism in their eyes. But Hitler did not just want to serve in the government, he wanted to be the government. While people like Hindenburg and Schleicher believed they could use Hitler to stave off communism, Hitler believed he could use them to take total control of Germany. After Brüning was fired, Hindenburg hired Franz von Papen to take his place. He was hired because he was weak. He would do what Hindenburg told him and help Schleicher fulfill his master plan of bringing Hitler into the government. Papen immediately ended the ban on the SA. The SA came into the streets to attack communists and Jews in some of the bloodiest street fighting since Germany had seen since the Kampf Putsch. If you recall, the only thing that saved Germany during the Kampf Putsch was the workers going on strike. With communists under attack throughout Germany, there was nobody to lead a strike this time around. Papen then called for new elections. The Nazis won the most votes, becoming the largest party in the Reichstag. As the leader of the largest party, Hitler demanded that he be named chancellor. He demanded Nazis control the cabinet. He demanded that the Reichstag pass his so-called Enabling Act that would give him the power of a dictator. But Hindenburg would not do this. He thought the Nazis were too violent. Instead, Hitler should serve as vice-chancellor under Franz von Papen. The cabinet they worked with would represent several parties, not just the Nazis. The only problem was, von Papen wasn't even a member of the Reichstag. He was a nobody. Why should the Reichstag even listen to him? On the first day of the new government, the Reichstag gave von Papen a vote of no confidence, meaning, we don't have to listen to you. Hindenburg dissolved the Reichstag once again. Once again, elections were called throughout Germany. Things had gotten so out of control, it was not clear who was using who at this point.